Hudson County View, live and uncut. I'm your host, the guy that lifts barbell plates, eats T-bone steaks, still has a demeanor that's sweeter than a chocolate cake, John R. Heinis. And of course, we got the latest and greatest in Hudson County news. Now, it seems like every time we're here, we're talking about Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop's run for governor. So that primary, which is still about 25 months away, he's already, moving and grooving. Last week, we talked a little bit about his campaign team. We already had 9 members announced there, and now yesterday we heard that he's got a key endorsement and he's actually going to be a co-campaign chair. That's Atlantic City Mayor Marty Smalls. Obviously a lot of people were expecting Mayor Fulop to get the brunt of his support from North Jersey. This is obviously down south, and that's in George Norcross territory. We're expecting him to run Steve Sweeney, or at least many are. Of course, again, it's very early, but that's a very interesting development to say the least, so we're going to touch on that. And of course, on May 9th, we have 2 nonpartisan municipal elections, and that's in North Bergen and West New York, respectively. So I looked at those campaign finance reports, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Even though both are pretty quiet races, there's been a ton of spending in North Bergen, so we're going to talk about what that looks like over there. Also, in Jersey City, we saw that someone that attended the January 6th Capitol riot in 2021 and who even posted pictures on his social media page, and that's how he ended up getting caught. He got sentenced to 4 months in prison. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. And of course, we have a June 6th primary this year, and we have someone running against the machine, and that's progressive challenger Adrian Ghainda. So we're going to sit down and chat with him right after this word from our sponsors.
Jersey City Ford, certified parts and service located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design studio and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-27.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, today I'm joined with District 2 Hudson County Commissioner candidate Adrian Ghainda. Adrian, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, John.
So, as you're well aware, a couple weeks ago we had the incumbent Bill O'Day come on, and look, a lot of people in progressive factions have supported Commissioner O'Day because he's voted against the budget sometimes, he's voted against the ICE contract. I'm sure we could come up with a lot of other examples, but why did you think that this was a seat that you wanted to challenge for?
That's a great question, John, and for me, it just goes back to the need for more progressive voices in county politics and local politics in general here in North Jersey. And the reason that I personally got involved with the decision to run for this seat is because I think we need more creative policy choices here in Hudson County. We need things like our first Planned Parenthood location. It's kind of a shock to think that we have more crisis centers here in Hudson County than we do actual locations that offer abortion services. We need creative policy outlooks like a right to counsel at the county level that's universally adapted. And it's a great start what we have so far, but we need to make sure that we have choices that are a little more stringent on what county politics currently looks like.
So would it be fair to say that you would like to see the county move further to the left? Is that reasonable to say?
Yeah, that'd be a reasonable thing to say.
Okay. Now, when we're talking about a new Planned Parenthood Center, perhaps, what role as a commissioner would you see yourself having if elected in getting that enacted?
Absolutely. So if I were elected as commissioner, the first thing that I think would be my jurisdiction is acting as an advocate for this location. So something that kind of gets forgotten here in local politics and county politics is that as elected officials, we have to advocate for the people that are in our district, but are also in Hudson County as a whole. Because we're not just fighting for policy that's just Jersey City exclusive. It's for Secaucus, it's for Kearney, it's for all the other municipalities and townships that often get lost in the shuffle, which is why we have so many challengers in other seats too, because a lot of people feel that there are just areas in Hudson County that are either getting neglected or they don't have advocates that are fighting for them and fighting for choices that should obviously make sense here in New Jersey.
Okay. Now, specific to the Planned Parenthood, I mean, where do you think would be a good location? Where would you like to see that happen?
So I'd say a place that makes sense obviously would be Jersey City because of how vast the city is in regards to Hudson County. But I'd also like to see it in a place like Union City, a place like Secaucus, areas that just have a lot of area where development is going to happen and there are going to be new plots of land that will come up for either luxury buildings or just new storefronts in general. And having a Planned Parenthood in one of those places where it kind of tackles public transportation also, so it's equidistant for anyone that lives in Hudson County. I think it would be great to see a location in something that's either in Jersey City or just a little bit outside, but still accessible.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, when we're talking just on the policy end, like if elected, could you give me, let's say, one or two ordinances or resolutions that you'd like to put forth before the board in short order?
Absolutely. So one of the first things that I want to tackle, like I was mentioning, would be a countywide right to counsel. And what we have currently is a great start where they were given a $500,000 grant that was given to the waterfront project. And that's a great start, like I said, but we need to make sure that we add more advocates and we add more groups that have done work. Like you've had Right to Counsel JC on the show, and they've been staunch advocates in Jersey City, but making sure that we have advocates all across Hudson County that could also be incorporated in this resolution to ensure that if we do have an office at the county level, that these are agents that are also included in that venture.
Okay. Now, you mentioned Universal, and I know in Jersey City, the reason that we did get Universal, or at least we have it at this point, there will be amendments, of course, but the reason that we have it at this point is because it's not economically feasible. Do you think that the county, that would be a different story?
I think it would be a different story because we have such a large budget. I'm sure you probably know that we have a $600 million plus budget annually. And if we're in a surplus at this moment, that means we've got money left over that we could be allocating to projects like making sure that we could tackle universal right to counsel or universal health care or something to that effect. But we have that money that could be allocated to projects that could better improve the quality of life here in Hudson County.
All right. Now, when you're knocking on doors over on the west side for that second district, and maybe even a little bit of Journal Square downtown, I know it overlaps, but point is, when you're talking to voters, what are the main concerns they have with their county government and/or representative?
Absolutely. So for a lot of people that I have knocked doors for, they aren't really in tune with county politics. They don't know who their county commissioner is. They don't know who their county government officials are. So it's kind of how I tackled going into policy in the first place, just trying to alleviate that educational gap because a lot of people don't really know who their local officials are. So trying to tackle it with two approaches. One, the educational aspect of letting you know there are these elections, there are these people that are running for office, there are certain policies that we should be fighting for. So when it comes to the policy end, people have been pretty appreciative of some of the stances I've taken. Like, for example, one thing that I think sets me apart is that I incorporate mental health in my platform and trying to advocate for affordable mental health programs that could be funded by county dollars. Or even if it's just talking about instances where we just have elected officials that aren't taking firm approaches, like with Liberty State Park or with the hit and run last year. Just approaches where they feel like their elected officials, if they do know them, aren't really taking the proactive approach to say we should hold people accountable. Just being able to have that conversation with an elected official or a candidate where they say this isn't just a person that's, for lack of a better word, ambitious in holding on to their seat, but someone that actually wants to do good by the people that they're trying to represent.
All right, point taken. Adrian, hold that thought. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Hudson County View live on Uncut. And I'm still John R. Heinis, and I'm still here with District 2 Hudson County Commissioner candidate Adrian Ghainda. So now look, as you know, Commissioner O'Day, one of the longest tenured members of the board, and some people are already floating his name as a mayoral contender for 25. So what do you think about the challenges of this race, and do you think there's a clear path to victory here?
I know for sure it's an uphill battle. That's something that we progressives do have to acknowledge before running these races and making that decision to run. And I know that Commissioner O'Day is already an early contender for the mayoral seat. So my approach has been that I have to tackle this like a field organizer, which is something I've done for the last 3 years or so. That the name of the game is just outreach, just hitting as many doors as possible, hitting the phones as frequently as possible, and just letting voters know that I exist. So going from that and making sure that we hit a feasible number of doors, that we get voters to turn out at the election, that we make sure we get people out for early voting, vote by mail, and to ensure that we just reach as many people as possible with our message. And that's the name of the game, regardless of if I'm facing Commissioner O'Day or if it were an open seat.
Okay, fair enough. Now, when you're doing this outreach, when you're hitting the phones, the emails, the doors, what's the most common theme? I mean, I know you said a lot of people you talk to really just aren't familiar with the county government. For those people that are, though, like, what's the most common thing you're hearing?
So the most common thing that I'm hearing is affordability and safety with our county roads. It's something that's huge here in Hudson County, and it's something that we have these grants that we could be allocating towards Vision Zero, that we could be allocating towards low income and moderate income housing. My running mates, Ron and Elaine, have probably mentioned the Community Land Trust, ensuring that we can get 10,000 new units here in Hudson County as a whole. So just making sure that people feel heard about these issues, because it's an issue that people take seriously. Like, no one should have to worry about crossing a county road like Kennedy Boulevard and fear, whether they're a pedestrian or a driver, that they may not go home that night. Or no one should have to fear that if they're getting priced out of their home, that no one's going to really be going up to bat for them. So that's something that's been a constant theme.
Okay, so let's touch on traffic safety. So when we hear from people like members of Safe Streets JC, Bike JC, we hear about how it's a hit and run epidemic, and of course, JFK Boulevard is, documented as a very dangerous road. So if elected, what would you do to try to change that?
So one thing that I feel that I've heard in the conversations with people that have mentioned street safety is that we have to make sure that we look at traffic studies and try and figure out what changes we can make to streets like Kennedy Boulevard that could make sure that the flow of traffic works well and also ensures pedestrian safety. So whether that could look like, I'm sure Elena's mentioned it with the rapid bus lanes, or making sure we have a combination of either bus lanes and bike lanes, or one or the other on streets like Kennedy Boulevard. Because I'm sure you've seen that in rush hour, Kennedy Boulevard could be a nightmare with the right lane and the way that buses can't get seamlessly to the stop and then back into traffic.
Of course.
So making sure that we can tackle those issues to see, once we get that out of the way, what else could we do to improve Kennedy Boulevard? Whether it's making sure roads are paved safely, or making sure that we have more stop signs at places that don't really have the signage that's needed.
Okay. Now, you mentioned affordability. Of course, we chatted about right to counsel a bit, but now when you're talking about that community land trust and something that would progress over a decade or so, right? How would you see this panning out, and how would the funding work? Could you just walk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned earlier, with the county budget as it is, we have a surplus. That means we could be allocating money towards a project like a community land trust. So that means even if we don't have, I'm going to spitball here and say, if we had $100 million to just put into a community land trust, it wouldn't mean that we'd take that whole part of the pie. We just would have to gradually allocate maybe like 5 or 10% to ensure that we have a stable start, so that we could start partnering with housing nonprofits and be able to purchase land and show that this is the land that we plan to develop to create that pathway to home ownership for low-income families. So making sure that we can distribute resources at an equal level, because of course there are other projects that we have to tackle at the county level, and ensure that we don't just take away funding and just throw it into housing and say, okay, this is the only project we'll be able to accomplish. But just to show that we can get funding for it. We can also make sure that if we need to supplement it through grants, we could apply for grants and make sure that this thing happens, that we get federal funding for it, local funding, state funding, whatever avenues that we need to cross to make sure that this is possible.
All right, Adrian, so any closing thoughts for me and this audience today?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say my closing thought is I'm appreciative of being able to run for a campaign against such a seasoned veteran like Commissioner O'Day, and I just appreciate everyone that's given the Progressive Slate support, and there's more to come. Regardless of what the outcome is for June 6th, there's going to be more ways to get involved in just advocating for everyone here.
Adrian Ghainda, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, John.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, but we're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
This thing rips! Oh, it is so quick. There's a lot of punch packed into this Bronco Sport. It's got a ton of horsepower. I love it. All right, now we're getting hairy. Now we're getting the fun stuff. Yeah. I like how we can get over or around almost anything.
Yeah, I dig your ride. I super dig it. It's gonna be a good day.
Growing up can be tough on kids. So much is going on in the world that can cause depression or anxiety. Unusual behavior for more than 6 months could mean they need help. Don't wait. For real-time mental health support and counseling, call New Jersey's Children's System of Care. CSOC offers free mental health supports, substance use treatment, and services for intellectual or developmental disabilities for all kids up to age 21. Call now, 1-877-652-7624.
Introducing the all-new Ford Maverick. A truck for people who do stuff. and people who make stuff. People like Gabrielle Union,
I make this look good, don't I?
who haul whatever they want to wherever they want. Like wood to build things made of wood with, and friends to get weird with. It's for long trips that the standard hybrid engine with a targeted EPA estimated city fuel economy rating of 40 miles per gallon helps with. That an 8-inch touchscreen connects with. And any trip that this interior makes more comfortable. But we'll let Gabrielle tell you all about it.
Or I could just tell them it's a Ford truck that starts at less than $20,000 MSRP.
Yep, that works too. The all-new Ford Maverick, built to defy expectations.
Hudson County View live at Uncut, John R. Heinis. So the big news that actually is out of Trenton via Atlantic City and Jersey City is, as I mentioned at the top of the program, Atlantic City Mayor Marty Small endorsed Mayor Stephen Fulop for governor. And while this primary is, again, still about 25 months away, we've seen Fulop work in it for the past couple of weeks here, ever since his announcement earlier in the month. And this is an interesting development because, again, as I noted, this is a campaign that a lot of people thought would start and end in North Jersey, and now we see a key endorsement from down south, and of course that's Norcross country, but more on that in a moment. So first of all, let's hear from Small. And he said, mayors have a unique understanding of the skills necessary to lead. They have executive experience that qualifies them to be effective in the office of governor. I'm proud to call Steve Fulop a friend. His accomplishments in Jersey City as a mayor speak for themselves. He is a transformational leader who will work tirelessly to help our state reach new heights, and I look forward to working closely with Mayor Fulop to make his campaign a success. Now, Small is pretty popular at Atlantic City. You know, he's won a referendum, he's won re-election by both pretty wide margins. I think that re-election bid was about 68% to 32, so not exactly close, and that referendum was defeated quite soundly. Now, Atlantic City has the largest block of Democratic primary voters in Atlantic County. It also has the majority, or I shouldn't say the majority, but a large portion of the Democratic County Committee seats, so this puts Fulop in a position to vie for the Atlantic County line. Of course, now George Norcross is going to have a say in this. I mean, obviously South Jersey is his power base, and Atlantic City is an area that he's very familiar with, so whoever he runs, whether that's former Senate President Steve Sweetie, or whether that's his brother Donald Norcross, or maybe someone completely out of the blue, whoever it may be, there's certainly going to be a little bit of a head-to-head clash over who gets that Atlantic County line. But in the meantime, this is certainly a good development for Fulop. And he said, after decades of Atlantic City struggling, Mayor Small is moving the community forward with major redevelopment initiatives, lower property taxes and improved services, and I could not be more proud to have him join our campaign. Mayors are in the front line of government and have a tremendous responsibility to deliver what their constituents need every day. There's no more difficult or rewarding job in politics. As governor, I will bring the experience as a mayor to the State House and enact policies that support local government and help it deliver the progress that residents deserve. So again, Fulop announced about 2 weeks ago, and the primary is not until June 3rd, 2025. At the moment, he's the only declared candidate from either side of the aisle. We're, of course, heavily expecting on the red side, if you will. We're expecting former state assemblyman and the Republican nominee in 2021, Jack Ciattarelli. He is all but guaranteed to run, as is NJ 101.5 host Bill Spadia, who has started a super PAC and has already been attacking Fulop on some of his programs here. And now the other side of the coin, political observers are waiting and watching with bated breath to see what U.S. Reps Gottheimer and Sherrill decide to do, and we're also looking to see what's going on with Newark Mayor Ross Baraka, and as I mentioned earlier, Sweeney, and of course there's other names too, like we've heard Montclair Mayor Sean Spiller, who's also the New Jersey Education Association president, and the list goes on. But right now, it's just mostly a guessing game with a lot of eyes on Fulop, again, the only declared candidate at this moment. So let's stick with Jersey City. On the crime end, we actually know someone here that got sentenced to 4 months in prison for his role in the January 6th insurrection, or siege, or riot, whatever you want to call it. Of course, that was in 2021. Now, he posted a Facebook video while this was all happening. It said, we took over this you-know-what in Capitol. And, you know, it's just really kind of strange that this is the way that it went down, because if he did post on social media, the odds of him getting caught obviously would have been a whole lot smaller, but here we are. A jury found him guilty in Washington, D.C. federal court in December on 4 charges: entering and remaining in a restricted building, disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building, violent entry and disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, parading, demonstrating, or picketing in the Capitol building. So very specific with these charges. He was sentenced to 4 months in prison by U.S. District Judge Randolph D. Moss, along with a $2,500 fine, $500 restitution, and $70 special assessment. So long story short, that's $3,070 in some sort of court fines or fees. And interestingly enough, according to the January 14th criminal complaint, that was from last year, I believe. Let me just take a look at that. Yeah, so that was in 2022, yeah. So that said, in short, that Vargas had posted this online, and the tipsters contacted the FBI, at least 2, and I would imagine they were from Jersey City. So that's a very interesting turn of events. And actually, sorry, that complaint was actually from 2021, not 2022. And yeah, I mean, I guess the bottom line here is if you're going to commit a crime, you probably shouldn't post it on Facebook. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about the Jersey City Council after we come back. So we're going to take a quick break.
Stevens Jersey City Ford Certified Parts and Service, located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John R. Heinis. So let's touch on one more specifically out of Jersey City. And actually, the Jersey City Council had their caucus meeting yesterday. And the one that caught a lot of people's attention, we saw some chatter on Twitter, was there was an ordinance that would raise fees for the city summer camp at 3 municipal pools. Now, it's interesting because this is something that hasn't happened in many years. And obviously, some council members had questions on why you would do this, in particular when there's a tax increase on the way. So we heard from Recreation and Youth Development Director Lucinda McLaughlin, and she said, in short, this is an important one, council members, because we are talking here about extending the fees that already exist at our Pershing Pool to both of our outdoor pools, as well as when they are in operation, as well as to amend the ways that membership exists at Pershing Pool specifically. We have not had traditionally fees at either Pavonia Pool or Lafayette Pool, which over the summer at our own ordinance did permit those pools to be run for free for residents. Now, she noted there's Green Acres funding for all 3 parks that the pools are in, and therefore they cannot charge out-of-towners more than double what they charge residents. So that's an interesting thing that I don't think most people knew. And another thing that she brought up is that the rec department allocates about $1.4 million in staff services to operate and maintain the pools. Therefore, nominal fees at the 2 outdoor pools make sense and are kind of needed for this to be sustainable. So at the end of the day, she asked the council to consider this. The base fee for the summer camp, though, is $150 weekly and $75 for families that qualify as low to moderate income. So, and she did note that there are special exceptions where the rec department would try to find sponsorships for families that truly couldn't afford it. So I'm going to post a video about that shortly after I leave here. I'm going to leave that there because there's a couple other items I want to touch on. in the West New York race. So first of all, the numbers that we're getting are quite similar. I mean, by North Hudson standards, you would say it's a dead heat in terms of fundraising. You got $129,788.81 raised by series. And then from Public Affairs Commissioner Cosmo Cirillo, you got $96,075. And then cash on hand, $60,749.47 from Team Series. And you got $53,105.28 from the West New York Forward, the Cirillo team. The thing that I pointed out was that the Jersey City Democratic Organization and the Fund for Quality Leadership, two groups that are, of course, closely linked to Fulop, both gave $5,000 on March 31st to the Team Series campaign. And then in North Bergen, looking at the finance there, again, while it's been a relatively calm and quiet race, you just have a ton of spending going on there. I mean, you got Larry Weinstein challenging for the third time. He's loaned himself $479,000. Then an additional $72,000 being spent on in-kind contributions. Meanwhile, you have the Sacco team, who is, of course, heavily favored, and they have raised over $215,000, close to $216,000, and they have about $50-something thousand cash on hand. So with that, we're going to call it a week, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Hudson Media Group. Follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.